there, everyone. Welcome to episode number 683 of this here electronic engineering podcast called Amelia's Weekly Fish Fry, brought to you by eejournal.com and written, produced, and hosted by me, Amelia Dalton. In this week's podcast, we're diving deep into the technology that is driving the next wave of enterprise digital transformation, private 5G. And this isn't just about faster networks. It's about enabling physical AI and reshaping how businesses operate. My guest today is a true expert in the field. Parm Sandhu, Group Vice President of Enterprise 5G Products and Services at NTT DATA Incorporated. Parm and I chat about how NTT is tackling the biggest misconceptions businesses have about private 5G today, and what considerations you need to keep in mind for a successful deployment. We also explore the crucial role of private 5G connectivity in laying the groundwork for physical AI and the strategic partnerships that is speeding up its deployment across industries. So, without further ado, please welcome Parm to Fish Fry.
Hi, Parm. Thank you so much for joining me.
And thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Okay, so given NTT's strong focus on enterprise 5G, what do you see as the biggest misconception businesses still have about private 5G networks? And how is NTT addressing that with its products and services?
So we see this quite often amongst our enterprises across pretty much all the verticals, and they treat it as just another technology option. Why is a private 5G or Wi-Fi? What's the difference? That's the typical conversation. Reality is that 5G is not just a technology. You can't treat it as a technology. It's really about what is the business transformation, business initiative, and outcomes that as an organization we're trying to deliver and achieve, and what's the best suitable technology for that. And this is where we see, most organizations purely starting at from a technology point of view. Then a lot of them will deploy it and then realize, okay, they haven't really figured out a plan in terms of how they're going to monetize it. That's why you see a lot of these P5G networks sitting in POCs and they try it. Yeah, it works, does what it's supposed to do. And then they'll go and say, okay, well, yeah, what's the justification? Right. We need to start the other way around.
So let's talk about laying the groundwork for physical AI. Could you talk to me a bit about what physical AI means, and specifically enterprise digital transformation and the role that private 5G connectivity plays in enabling it?
So we really believe that AI is going to be one of the biggest drivers around private 5G. And really, it's about data and how do you get that data. And physical AI is really moving to both, typically in the early days, machine language, machine learning. A lot of these were all deterministic type systems. And now we're moving into the world of probabilities and probabilistic systems. So if you look at where AI and agentic is going, this is where inferencing and decision-making is now based on probabilistic systems. It's not like systems in the past where you created even AI itself. You asked specific questions and then it gave you answers based on all of the information that's out there. But now in digital transformation, AI is moving into identifying, for example, this machine has a probability that it's going to fail in 2 weeks or 10 days or whatever, and based on the analysis. And a lot of these systems, the more data that you can feed them from different sources of data, and this is where context comes in, contextualized data times serialized data, that then allows that system to be more accurate in those probability and predictions. So this is where physical AI comes around, where the digital and the physical world sort of intersect. So think about, in a factory, you have machinery, AMRs, AGVs, you have, welding robots, you have robots that are bolting bolts together, different assembly processes, or in the oil and gas sector, you have drilling software where they're looking at drill and monitoring all the statistics and the data that is on the pressure level, seismic data, What's the probability I'm going to get the production and maximizing all of that? Those are sources of data. Those data sources then need to be connected to the engine, the brain, which is your AI, and that's your physical AI models that are running and doing that inferencing. And now that data is going to be connected, and you want that data to be from what I would call a very deterministic cellular network, which offers the reliability, security. You know that you're going to get the data with a set latency. And this is where 5G lays the groundwork for those types of initiatives. Secondly, 5G also for mobile type solutions like robotics, AMR, and even if you look at physical humanoids that are coming in, they need that reliable connection. And some of the companies and clients that we're talking to are looking at using private 5G for their humanoid, which are all running physical AI, because these robots are aware of their surroundings. You can go to that robot and say, go repair this machine without having to shut a factory down. This is where the physical world, automated forklifts, autonomous AMRs, the robots that are stocking and doing inventory in warehouses, they all need that reliable communication. The last part I would say is security. And you probably heard about AI and security probably the last couple of weeks, especially in the US with Anthropic's the new model that's coming out, and how dangerous that is. If you think about sensors and how those sensors can be utilized to penetrate a factory or a power plant or something like that, you want to make sure they're on a very secure network, not Wi-Fi, right? No. And Wi-Fi is very much like that. So this is where I think 5G provides the best security out there, especially for connecting endpoints and end devices. So it lays that foundation: security, performance, reliability, and then perform and QoS, quality of service, for those mission critical applications and solutions.
So, Parm, partnerships are crucial in complex 5G. Talk to me about NTT's approach to strategic partnerships and how those collaborations are speeding up the deployment of these private 5G networks.
Yeah. And, I think 5G's come a long way. However, it's not just one network. There's many, many parts and pieces to that solution. There's obviously the foundational network components, and not all network and solutions are built equal. So NTT wants to make sure we're working with the best network solutions out there. And we have just recently, we announced our partnership with Ericsson. We also have a partnership with Cisco. We have a partnership with Salona, Nokia as well. So we have a number of partners. We work on the network and foundation, make sure we can deliver global solutions for our customers that meet their requirement, price, budget, all of these things, and also performance. So we bring in the infrastructure, but then also on the devices. So there's endpoints. It's not just the network, it's what's going to connect to the network. Without the devices, you can't realize any of its use cases. So whether it's scanning devices for inventory, like Zebra, or integrated 5G cameras so that you can place them anywhere without having complexity of adding modems. So any of these, devices and chipsets. And then finally, the last is the compute infrastructure. We bring together, running these AI models, all of the infrastructure that you need for those end solutions. So what we do is, we work with these partners. We make sure that we as NTT can support those solutions. They're available globally. They meet the performance requirements of our customers and the support and SLA requirements of our customers. So our partnership truly has been that we want to make it simple for our customers, and we want to create a full solution stack all the way up to the applications and use cases, including small companies that are doing like physical AI models. So we're bringing the entire solution stack for our customers, not just stopping at the network or stopping at the devices. And that really, what we find from our customers is they come and talk to us that, some customers will try to do that themselves, try to bring all the partners. And then they come to us and said, our project wasn't successful. Or that's when they ask us to say, wish we had kind of just reached out to you up front. And we've seen this before, even in IoT projects. Many, many IoT projects fail because they're complex, as you said. And this is what we help to solve. And it's through partners where we bring the solutions together.
beyond the typical use cases like smart manufacturing or logistics, where do you see the next big thing for private 5G happening in the next 12 to 18 months?
So I think from private 5G perspective, we're seeing a lot more use cases where now the devices and the ecosystem is there. Let's say, for example, a factory, they're expanding. They want to add a new wing or a new building, or they want to open up a new production line. In order for them to do that, today what they're doing is they're expanding their Wi-Fi network. Then they're expanding their two-way radio network, which they're using. They have 4 or 5 different networks. And private 5G is one network you just expand, and that delays those initiatives that they have. Some of them have to bring in PBX systems. So we've integrated everything onto that one network. So think about automotive manufacturer wants to expand their plant. The biggest complaint I hear from them is like, hey, I've got 4 or 5 networks I also have to expand, which delays my deployment. One network can meet all the needs. And that's one thing we're seeing from a lot of customers who are saying that. Secondly, I think the biggest area we're also seeing is we have a lot of demand just covering the base use cases around predictive maintenance, digital transformation. So what I mean by digital transformation is companies are now able to take data from just being a dashboard to now making decisions, automated decisions, and guiding them through the process. So that's where AI is coming in. And so we see a lot of AI transformation with computer vision, or we call it process vision. So airports, as an example, are using it for vehicle detection on what's the perimeter security. So we're seeing a lot of these type of use cases and huge demand from those industries. In mining areas where they want to drive automated vehicles and trucks, equipment, that's another area where we've actually got ability to now combine our private 5G with our ION technology and our IMS technology to really help them build those automated control systems and solutions. So think of a person sitting 100 kilometers, 150 kilometers away, operating heavy equipment at a mine. So that gives them ability to monitor. And same thing applies in energy and monitoring, things that you couldn't do before.
That's incredibly cool. Okay, so for an enterprise that is currently exploring private 5G, what considerations should they keep in mind in order to have a successful deployment?
I think number one, I won't get into the technical, but it's starting with what's the business outcome they're trying to achieve. What is their short-term and long-term goal? Well, this is where we start. So don't start on the technology, because the technology works. Like we can show you, we can bring in the technology. It works. It's not, and the ecosystem is expanding on a daily basis, but it's starting with the outcome. Then the second is, are they global or are they local? Do you need a global partner or you need a local partner? And this is what we find with our clients who have operations in multiple countries and around the world. NTT helps them establish that same standardized operating platform around the world. So that same benefit they're seeing in one country, they're seeing it everywhere else. Second is, you want to have a brand that's going to be around. There's a lot of turnover in technology companies, a lot of change in the industry. And this is where NTT comes in and gives assurance that we can help you meet your needs. And third is, do you have a solution partner who can do operations as well? So one thing is you put the network in. What is your plan on operating this network? How are you going to maintain it? Governance? Are you ensure that it's up to date, it's secure?
Right.
All of these things need to be considered. And then, from there, don't just pick the first vendor that comes in, or because when you speak to just the vendor, they're going to say, my solution is the best. It's not about the solution being the best. Is it the best solution for you? Your budget, your operating environment, which countries are you going to operate? And the third is, there's still a fairly significant component on the regulation side. Spectrum may not be available everywhere you're operating. And this is where a partner like NTT comes in, and we actually ensure that we look at the entire footprint. What's the best solution? We make sure that you have the radio and equipment available for those countries, and we make sure that you're going to have spectrum available through partnerships. So there's no one size fits all, but I think really start with what is the end, objective and outcomes you want to deliver.
All right, Parm, it's time for your off-the-cuff question. So if you could have one meal right now, it doesn't matter if it's on the other side of the world, you need a passport to get there, what would you have?
Well, being part of a Japanese company, I would say sushi is the best. And if I go to Japan to go have sushi, can't compare that to anywhere in the world. So that would be mine. And, hopefully you get a chance to come see us over there and we can show you all of our amazing solutions we have deployed in Japan. So thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. And I would love to. Thank you so much, Parm.
If you would like even more information about this topic, I've included a couple links below the player on this week's Fish Frying page on eejournal.com and in the description for this week's YouTube episode as well. Hey, have you checked out EE Journal on social media yet? Well, you should. You can find us at facebook.com/eejournal. If LinkedIn is your thing, I dig it. You can follow us or me on LinkedIn. And we are also on Blue Sky Social and Mastodon as well. And we have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/eejournal. Folks, it is chock full of all kinds of techie videos, including our very popular Chalk Talk webcast series, hosted by me. And of course, you can subscribe to our EE Journal YouTube channel as well. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you know of any cool new technology or heck you just want to chat, shoot me a line at Amelia, that's AMELIA at eejournal.com, or post a comment on our forums on EE Journal. For the week of May 22nd, 2026, I'm Amelia Dalton, and you've been fried.